This is Gudayachn News, Views and Analysis. I'm Gudayachn from Oslo, Norway. In our headlines, within hours difference on this very week, US, Russia and UAE foreign ministers travel to Ethiopia. What is their travel purpose? Ethiopian Spice Girls project on building girls' confidence and capacity didn't affect by UK fund cuts. This week, Ethiopian capital Addis Ababa will host 3 foreign ministers from different parts of the world. The political and security turmoil in the country is attracting the attention of the international community. The state of emergency is declared under the controversial way of the parliament last Friday. Following the declaration, the country is currently under huge protest against the dictatorial and ethnocentric regime led by TPLF. Now, let us see the visit of the 3 foreign ministers, US, Russia and United Arab Emirates, within the same week and our differences with what is their travel purpose. First, let us see the US Foreign Minister visit to Addis Ababa. US Foreign Minister Rex Tillerson will arrive at Addis Ababa tomorrow morning, that is March 7, 2018. His tour in Africa includes Ethiopia, Kenya, Nigeria, Chad and Djibouti. The Tillerson program also includes meeting with the senior African Union officials to assess cooperation strategies and achieve mutual understanding after the White House and regional bloc ties become tense after President Donald Trump's questioned comments towards the African nations. Last January, Trump used the word junk countries to describe African territories as well as Haiti and El Salvador, while discussing immigration issues with U.S. lawmakers. Following Trump's statements, the African Union issued a statement calling the president's comments scandalous and hurtful. Hence, many experts define this tour of the U.S. Secretary of State to Africa, which will also take him to Chad, Djibouti, Kenya and Nigeria, as another strategy to ensure their interests in the continent, but not the genuine intention of the approach based on the respect and acceptance described by Washington authorities. The State of Department of USA announces today, March 6, 2018, nearly $533 million will be provided in humanitarian assistance for the people of Ethiopia, Somalia, South Sudan and Nigeria, as well as countries in the Lake Chad region, where millions are facing life-threatening food insecurity and malnutrition as a result of ongoing conflicts or prolonged drought. While humanitarian aid is truly life-saving, this assistance will not solve this crisis, most of which are largely man-made. The State Department in its press release also mentioned that of the newly announced funds, nearly $184 million is for affected population from South Sudan, more than $110 million for affected population from Ethiopia, more than $110 million for affected population from Somalia, and more than $128 million for affected population from Nigeria and countries in the Lake Chad region. Since 2017, U.S. humanitarian aid in Africa is more than $3 billion, according to the State Department press release. Many economists and international development intellectuals have critical questions on aid process and its contribution to an overall development of Africa. Ethiopia is under protests when the US Foreign Minister arrives at Addis Ababa tomorrow. 3 days home sitting and road blocking strikes protest the state of emergencies and demanding the down of the current ethnocentric brutal regime led by TPLF, Tigray People's Liberation Front. The protest shocks the nation's political and economic life. For example, the capital Addis Ababa business is almost moving below the normal business days. According to Bloomberg, today's report, more than 2 years protest in the Oromia and Amhara regions have left hundreds of people dead, while recent conflict between the Oromia and Somalia regions has forced more than 900,000 people from their homes. Combined, they pose a large challenge to Ethiopia's ruling coalition since it took power a quarter century ago, Bloomberg reports. Bloomberg today's report mentioned also Musa Ali, a chief elder responsible for part of eastern Oromia, said by found that the strike is being widely observed in the region. Torone Gameta, a member of the executive committee of the Oromo Federal Republic, a legal opposition party, also said the action was widespread. Information Minister Negari Lencho, Defense Minister Siraj Farkesa, and Adiso Arega of Oromia's spokesman didn't respond to their calls that came from Bloomberg and 3 text messages that Bloomberg office need to get the necessary information or comment on the current strike. Many Ethiopians are currently looking positively to the State Department authorities' visit to Ethiopia, hoping US may continue to push the TPLF to begin the democratic transition through establishing the transitional government. There is a good start from US side. For the first time after 2 decades that the US Embassy in Addis Ababa explained its disagreement on the declaration of the state of emergency in Ethiopia. Despite many Ethiopians thank for US stand against the state of emergency declaration, the pro-TPLF medias have already opened anti-US propaganda for last 15 days. The former Voice of America VOA journalist and full supporter for the regime, both ethnically and ideologically, Mimi Sabatu Radio in Addis Ababa, called Zami FM, is repeatedly broadcasting anti-US government and its institutions to stand against the state of emergency. Zami FM has every Sunday's discussion program chaired by Mimi Sabatu has undermined, even in bad manner, the US ambassador in Addis Ababa and the US government as a whole. America may have experience to disintegrate and destabilize the Syrian and Iraq. Now they are planning to do the same in Ethiopia. This is a different country, said Mimi Subhatu on her program called Around the Table, Betarempeza Zuria, 2 weeks back. Last Sunday, almost the same words are heard from the program. She tried to compare Ethiopian victory of Adwa anniversary of 122nd to US disagreement of the state of emergency. It is quite clear that the 2 conditions are different. Ethiopians currently are fighting the TPLF ethnocentric regime that killed the country's hope and path towards democracy after the fall of the socialist rule led by Colonel Mengistu Haile Mariam. US Foreign Minister Rex Tillerson visit to Ethiopia is under all this political environment boiling within the ancient land of Africa, Ethiopia. This afternoon, Rex Tillerson gives a press release before he leaves Washington to Africa. In his interview, he mentioned Ethiopia by saying, Ethiopia is a very important country to USA. We had over a century diplomatic relations with Ethiopia. Yes, Ethiopia is a very important country, not only to USA, but to Africa too. Ethiopians are on a very crucial time to break out from the quarter-century brutal and ethnocentric dictatorial regime led by Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF. USA need to use her chance to contribute to Ethiopia's struggle towards democracy. Transitional government must be a proposal that the State Department agenda in its talk with TPLF leaders. No less nor more other than transitional government from all parties, says one commentator on social media this morning. Otherwise, U.S. foreign policy failure regarding Ethiopia will be clear. In fact, British Broadcasting Corporation BBC Amharic service from London puts its guess as one of the agenda that the U.S. Foreign Minister visit to Ethiopia is to put its issue to transitional government on TPLF table. But the news is not confirmed from the two parties. Now everybody is watching to hear the issue of transitional government from Addis Ababa. This is Gudayachn News and Views. We shall pass to the next title, that Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov visit to Ethiopia. The second high official at minister level from another superpower country next to USA in this week is the Russian Foreign Minister visit to Ethiopia. The main visit of Russian Foreign Minister is to review the pre-signed bilateral relationship between Ethiopia and Russia. According to the Pensa Latina news agency quoting the local media in Ethiopia, the Foreign Minister of Russia said regarding his visit to Ethiopia that he said, "Our plans includes the creation of the Ethiopian Center for Nuclear Science and Technologies based on the Russian research reactor," said Lavrov, who was quoted by local media in Ethiopia. However, even though the official news disclosed regarding the Russian foreign minister visits more economical, there are diplomatic sources that the Russia may raise the issue of armament sale to Ethiopia and the issue of debt that is not yet paid from Ethiopia to Russian government. Ethiopia Defense Force, beginning from the 1974 Popular Revolution, is more structured with the Russian-made armaments. In fact, that the current situation, the Russians stand may not be clear because the TPLF-led regime is almost losing its political power. This is Gudayachn News and Views. Next title, the next visitor of the foreign minister to Ethiopia within the same week of this week, and within our difference is the United Arab Emirates foreign minister visit to Ethiopia. His Sheikh Abdullah bin. United Arab Emirates Minister of Foreign Affairs Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed visit to Ethiopia. According to the spokesperson of the Ministry of Affairs of Ethiopia, Mr. Malasa said last week in his press release that the meeting of the Joint Commission of 3 days between Ethiopia and the United Arab Emirates will take place from March 5 to 7 to discuss about the technical and ministerial meetings. The United Arab Emirates is also the 9th leading exporter to Ethiopia in 2016. In terms to direct investments, the value of United Arab Emirates investment in Ethiopia between 2003 and 2017 reached around $523 million, while predicting further growth in the coming years. On March 5, 2018, United Arab Emirates-based news source, the National website under the business column mentioned one important link that United Arab Emirates' influence on the Horn of Africa economy. The news was about Somaliland's parliament approved by the partnership with United Arab Emirates company called DP World DP World in 2016, paving the way for the world's further biggest port operator to invest $442 million American dollars to rebuild the port of Berbera in Somaliland, and manage it through a 30-year concession. According to deal announcements on Thursday, Ethiopia will become a 19% shareholder in the port of Berbera, with DP World controlling 51% stake in the project. Somaliland will hold the remaining 30%. The Ethiopian government will also invest in infrastructure to develop the Berbera corridor as a trade gateway for the landmark nation. The TPLF-led government of Ethiopia is under pressure with the Middle East politics. The coalition led by Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, is also a member, has a parallel stand with Qatar and Iran political stand. Ethiopia exports to Saudi and the United Arab Emirates most agricultural products earn foreign currency. On the other hand, the foreign policy of TPLF is also showing its friendship with Qatar. High-level visits between Qatar and TPLF officials was made a month back. Such a kind of Middle East politics is reflecting on the Horn of Africa. The United Arab Emirates foreign minister visit may not be only economical, but the negotiation may include an attempt to treat a diplomatic crisis that Ethiopia and the Middle East are facing. This is Gudayachn news, views, and analysis. Now we shall pass to the last title of the Ethiopian Spice Girls project on building girls' confidence got fund cut from UK, but it is still going well with Ethiopian entrepreneurs. This is March 7 news. Gudayachn. Some years back, Ethiopian intellectuals set a huge and tremendous project that could build the future generation of women, confidence, and gender equality. The program, called Yenya, has a Spice Girls musician and art groups. Its famous music and dramas under the name of Yenya is so famous in all parts of the country on its weekly drama and music programs. According to the British-based newspaper Today, Daily Mail, the girl band Yenya mentioned that as the girl band Yenya project had been received £4 million from United Kingdom government. But it had their funding stopped last year following a public outrage, as ministers admitted the money could be better spent elsewhere. In an interview a year later, the pop group's founders have admitted the band has carried on despite the funding cut. The band has got funding from anonymous charitable givers and is exploring sponsorship deals, according to the reports that was led by the Ethiopian entrepreneurs. Daily Mail report of today elaborates that while members of the pop group said they have played to 10,000 strong crowds of fans. Zabiba Girma, one of the band members, told The Guardian that there were over 10,000 spectators. It was amazing. Some women who looked like us came to the back of the stage and told us their life stories. Gayatri Butler, a country director of United Kingdom for Girls Effect, the project which covers the band attacked the backlash and funding encountered in the UK. She said, and also a reduction of what we actually do. The representative of the Spice Girls, it was just taking what they had seen as a reduction of the band, because that with what is facing international audience. We are a band created by Ethiopians and for Ethiopians. Brand director Beminette Yemesgen said, we have created music that people wanted to buy, so we are considering commercializing some of the products we own. Betty Patriot announced that she was accessing the funding last year, saying, we have taken the decision to end our partnership following a review of the program. Anyway, the £4 million aided project can be managed and ran proudly by Ethiopian entrepreneurs through mobilizing income generating domestically, even without any coin aid from UK governments.
Have a single friend. Some call us the country's greatest untapped resource.
We say we're just girls. Girls who are ready to shape our country's future.
We are Yenya, Ethiopia's first teen run for girls.
It's an identity, a way of life, with role models to aspire to.
We're already creating change,
getting people excited.
Yenya, it means ours in Amharic.
Because to change things here,
For girls,
you have to speak to everyone.
everyone.
That's why each week we produce,
Edit and star in a radio drama and talk show with music at its heart. Broadcasting to more than 5 million listeners.
bringing the best of Ethiopian and international talent together to create something new.
The drama tells the story of 5 very different Ethiopian girls who come together to form a band.
They each face their own challenges but come to realize that as a group they are stronger.
The storylines of the drama bring to life issues facing girls in Ethiopia, like domestic violence and sexual harassment.
We have started a conversation and everyone can join in.
We're spreading the word through our army of 500 Yenya ambassadors
And creating a network of over 10,000 listening groups.
and building partnerships with over 8,000 schools.
ሴቶች ማህበርንም እንደዚሁ ስብሰባ ጠርቶ ግንዛቤ ፈጥሮልናል። በቃ በደንብ አድርጌ ነው ማሳደግ ያለብኝ የሚል እንትን አለኝ እና ትልቅ ግንዛቤ አግኝቻለሁ በዚህና ለኔ ትልቅ አሪያዬ ነው ማለት ነው የኛ ፕሮግራም።
We are creating a new sound.
Our sound.
With lyrics that challenge the way people think about girls.
It's only the beginning, but Yenya's fans are loyal, and it's getting them talking. Yenya is encouraging every Ethiopian girl to find her voice. Yenya is the girl effect in action.
Yenya is the sound of all of us.
Thank you. This is a monitor advertised from dailymonitoring.uk. That's all from Gudayachn News Views and Analysis for March 7, 2018. Thank you for your attending. We'll come with another title of Ethiopian in Horn of African issues for today. Just goodbye and see you. Thank you very much.